The human remains have yet not been confirmed, but I still don't lose hope. My mother's on bed right now with pills. Why? Because they lied to our faces every single day that passed. Every single day, which is 2 months, more than 2 months. My sister Vanessa Guillen was sexually harassed, yet nothing was done to it. For her lacks of responsibility, safety, and respect, because they didn't respect my sister. They didn't keep my sister safe. They always try to cover up for each other. Why? My sister's a human too. She deserves respect. She deserves to be heard. Because if this can happen to my sister, it can happen to anyone else. My sister was also sexually harassed, and this led to this. They don't protect our suffering women and men. They're the ones putting their life at risk every day. For the nation and for us. Just like my sister. How can this happen on military base? How can this happen while she was on duty? How can this just happen and they let it go under the rug like if it was nothing? They take sexual harassment, sexual assault as a joke. Just see the hashtag I am Vanessa Guillen. All those men and women in our service suffering from sexual harassment, suffering from sexual assault because they report it, yet they take it as a joke. My sister's no joke. My sister's a human being.
Oh man, what do you say to that? You know, you see the pain, the anger, the frustration amongst just a few emotions going through her sister at this moment. You know, she's going through something that no family should go through, man. Especially no mother, no siblings. Vanessa Guillen. First, let's start off by saying who she was. She was a overall great person. She was raised in the Houston area in Texas. She was a very smart girl, beautiful girl. She was always on, one of the top persons in her class. And from the early age of 10 years old, she said she wanted to be in the service. She wanted to serve her country. And that's exactly what she did after graduating high school. She joined the Army, seemed to be having a great time at it, seemed to be at a peak of her life, was actually housed in two different bases before she came to Fort Hood in Texas. And the family said that pretty quick after she came to Fort Hood, something changed in her. She wasn't the same happy girl that she typically is. She just, something wasn't right at the place. She had texted her sister and kind of gave her some type of notion that, she wasn't happy. She didn't really want to talk about it. And this happens. So let me try to break down this timeline for you of what exactly happened and how this whole thing came to fruition. On April 22nd, Vanessa's sister was trying to get a hold of her through Texas, and she wasn't answering. And according to her sister, that is not like her whatsoever. So she tried calling the base. The base said she checked in at 4 o'clock when they have their roll call, I guess morning, in the afternoon, and then at night. And whoever was doing the roll call said that yeah, she had checked in, but later on it came out that she had not checked in. Whoever was doing it just checked her off like she was there and kept her going around about their business without actually doing their job. And that's one flag that starts making this whole thing unravel. By 10 o'clock that night, she did not check in for roll call, and then she came up as a missing person. They started investigating somewhat, actually, and they found that the last person she texted was actually Aaron Robinson. He was a guy who she had been complaining about. I believe he walked in on her in the shower, was being very aggressive with her, and there was definitely something going that he was harassing her, and I believe she was making it known to her higher ups, but it was kind of falling on deaf ears. When they interviewed Aaron Robinson 5 days later on April 28th, they asked him about the relationship, and he said that pretty much they were just co-workers and there was nothing to it. However, a few weeks later, they interviewed another couple witnesses, and they said that on April 22nd, the day that she came up missing, that they actually saw Mr. Robinson pushing a a heavy-looking crate on wheels over to his vehicle. I don't know if it was a truck or car, but they definitely saw him. So this sparked interest in him again. They uh they go through his phone records. They find out that on April 22nd he was corresponding with his girlfriend at the time. So when they go home and they actually interview Cecily, but the crazy part is they didn't interview Cecily until almost 1 month after the missing report. All right, so you're looking at a report. It may be a possible murder. Who knows what's going on? And you don't go until 1 month to go interview his girlfriend. There's something wrong there. So they go to Cecily. They ask her, "Where were you at the night?" You know, like you see in a movie, April 22nd. She said she was at home, that Aaron was with her, and they spent the whole night together. Well, as cops do, they start investigating. They start looking at their phone records. So the cops call her back in a few days later, and they show her the phone record. They say, "Cecily, how are you going to tell me that you were with Aaron all night and you guys stayed at your home, but we have phone records saying you guys were calling one another?" She kind of played it off and tried to say that the real reason he called her was because she was missing her phone, so they were looking for her phone. But that didn't coincide with the amount of time they were talking. You can tell that they were having a conversation. She came in a few days later for a follow-up interview. They ask her again. This time she changes her story and says that she went to some place to see some stars or fireworks down by some river in their town. So now she's saying that's where they're making the phone calls. So now what the cops do is they start getting the pings off the phone. They start figuring out where she was at, where he was at, and that's where this turn makes a crazy twist. They just recently, a few days ago, actually found a body, bones out there in a crate. Seemed like it was burnt. I don't know if it was buried or whatnot. And we all automatically assume that it was Vanessa. But the truth of the matter is, it wasn't Vanessa. It just came out, I don't know if today or yesterday. That body was actually a 24-year-old man named Gregory Scott Morales. He went missing on August 19th, 2019. From where? From Fort Hood. From Fort Hood, Texas. This is another person that's in the Army that was supposed to be getting discharged. He was having certain issues, and the thing is, nobody really knows yet what it was, but he wanted to get out the Army. They saw him drive off that day on August 19th, and he never came back. And the crazy part about it is, it's the same area where Aaron and Cecily were about the areas of where Vanessa went missing. On follow-up interviews now, they went to interview Cecily again. This time Cecily said that Aaron confided in her and told her that when they were in the armory room where they hold all the weapons, that's where Vanessa worked, that he hit her with a hammer. He killed her with a hammer. He put her in a box. They drove her out to some isolated area or some place where they felt safe to do it. They took Vanessa out. They chopped her up with a machete and bashed her with a hammer and made her into pieces. Put her into three different boxes. I don't know if they threw it on the river or buried her. And that's Cecily's Aguilar story now. We can't ask Aaron anymore because as police try to pull him over last week, when he pulled over, Aaron took his own life. And Aaron took his own life most likely because Aaron's a killer. Aaron was a murderer. Did he also murder Mr. Scott Morales? We don't know yet. And the problem is that Fort Hood, the Army, seems to be hiding something. It doesn't take 1 month out here in the streets. If you see a murder case and the guy and the girlfriend, you're going to go interview her right away. You're interviewing people right away. But Fort Hood seems to be trying to cover something up. And that is a shame because if anywhere a woman should be safe is being in the Army in the United States, man. That should be one of the safest places in the world. But this place where Vanessa went to give her heart and soul and fight for this country that she loves so much and have her country betray her the way it's been betraying not just her, but her family is wrong. And what the family is asking for now is for a congressional investigation to see where the cover-up is, why people hiding it, what's really going on behind the scenes over there in Fort Hood. They started getting more and more complaints, and you started seeing women coming out that are in the service that have been getting harassed. That some, it's even like it's a normal thing over there if you want to rank up, and that's wrong. In 2020, Women should not have to go through sexual harassment or maybe kind of forced to have sex with gentlemen just to get ranked up. And they definitely shouldn't be afraid to speak out when something's going on with them. With a congressional investigation, what the family wants to know is how the protocol was broken, how there's no evidence, how there's no blood, how she was accounted for at 4 o'clock. No one heard this. It's almost like it's like a movie. How it's almost like the perfect murder. It took almost 2 months to sit here and figure out she was dead, and still now they don't have the body. So now they can't even say that. But you have the confession from the girlfriend. Aaron took his life, obviously for the reason that he's guilty. But yet, it's still taking this long to get all these answers. There's no way somebody's gonna get bludgeoned to death inside of a room, and there is no evidence like that. It's almost of a cover-up. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but there's definitely some going on here, and this family deserves answers, because if not one day, it could be yours. When we send our kids off to the Army, to the Marines, to the service in general, when we send our kids off to those services, we should know it and know that they're going to be safe. That know that their own people are going to take care of them. And when they have a complaint, they shouldn't be scared. But this seems like it was a complete opposite for her. Vanessa is one of thousands of women in the services. And if this happens to Vanessa, this can happen to any one of your kids. And don't be fooled. And it obviously happened to a gentleman named Gregory Scott Morales who lost his life as well. So what I'm trying to figure out is what the hell happened. And we need to figure out why this happened and how we can prevent it. How is there no cameras in the rooms by the armory? That's basically one place where you know who's coming in and out. Yet there's no cameras in this place. This place is like a huge city. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest base around the world almost, man. But to have this lack of security for your own is inexcusable. People need to know what's going on here. People need to investigate what's going on in here for Vanessa and all the other women that are there putting their life on the line every day. We shouldn't fear for our kids when they go to the service. We shouldn't fear for our kids when they're in the Army, when they're in the Marines. That's where they're supposed to be at the safest. They're there fighting for our country, for our rights. But is our country there fighting for them? You know, there's nothing I can say to help the family ease that pain. And when anybody's ever gone through anything like that, they know it. There's just nothing you can say, man. There's nothing you can say that I feel your pain, because if you haven't gone through that, you're not feeling that pain. What it is a piece of your heart has been taken out of you, especially the mother. A piece of your heart has been taken out of you. People have asked me, well, how do you go back to normal? And the answer is you never do. You never do, because that piece of your heart will always be gone. And in years to come, eventually, it becomes a callus. It becomes just a hole in your heart. It becomes something you learn to live with. But it's not something that's easy, especially for a mother. No mother should have to bury her child. No mother should have to go through this. Vanessa was such a beautiful, bright person that had such a great future in front of her, and it was taken by this coward, man. This coward, but the coward was helped by this government who let this happen. How do you go 2 months without finding out who did this? How do you go a month without investigating his girlfriend? How do you go 2 months without finally getting an arrest warrant and pushing up on this guy? It's almost like they didn't want to believe it. They were just put under the rug. They probably thought she ran away, but that was not what Vanessa did. Vanessa did not run from problems. She ran to him, tried to solve them. But this problem was much too big for her, and we had a coward take her away from us. But we can't just sit there and lie down and not let justice for her. So we do need to bring justice to this issue. We need to bring light to this issue and make sure there is no more Vanessas out there like this that will be victimized. So when you look at Vanessa, don't look at her as a Latina. Don't look at her as a white girl. Don't look at her as a black girl, Asian. Look at her as your daughter. Look at her as your niece. Look at her as your cousin. Look at her as your friend. Look at her as a human being that she was, and know that no human being should go through what she went through. You know, there's not much more to say. You know, my condolences to the family. You know, there's nothing we can do but help them spread their message, help them get their congressional investigation, help them get some justice for Vanessa.